Alright, time to finish the Lord of a Hunt with whatever is that we need remaining. There is a set of side missions that you can do, but I will not show because they don't really have a story significance. Essentially, you do a bunch of you do a bunch of missions with the Karagaf, and your reward for that is that your Karagaf has a sort of super meter that you can use in combat. But it's just that, nothing more than that. It's a cool reward, but nothing story related.
To draw him out, use the
So let's get to the first warchief, and like I said, each of these warchiefs will require for you to use a tactic that you have learned through Torvin's teaching of these new creatures. In this case, you need to use the Karagaf's stealth kill.
So does this DLC also add any new moves for like the enemies as well?
No, it's more of the same, but you have more tools to play with.
Okay.
This particular mission is a bit nasty because you're supposed to kill them stealthily while be mounting on the beast, without raising the alarm, which again, the combination of things makes it very, difficult to do. One of the best things that you can do is to actually, be around this corner of the fortress, just kill the archers like that, and then wait behind that corner there, so everyone else, jumps in potentially and gets ready to be eaten up. But again, it depends also on your sort of a luck if an orc manages to stumble there or not. Like in this case,
it is kind of a shame that the DLC didn't have a lock-on function where when you purchase it after completing the section of the game, elements from it could then be used in the main game.
Unfortunately, I get the idea why, because otherwise, it would be a bit too much of reprogramming potentially, This is not like, say, a fighting game where you kind of still need to have a new character introduced in case you face them online, potentially. But again, it's more of a, playground testing. Again, you can also tell that from having played the sequel, but this is more about the game dev testing new mechanics and see what can stick out and what will be kept, because not everything will be kept, but a lot still will.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I forgot exactly what was the price, and I mean the genuine one, not a sale one. Because since I got this through a season pass, which was on sale, which was like for $5 the entire package. Obviously,
the choir's singing the song singing
actually,
the name of the guy as he comes on.
That's what they do. Again, Reeves, I mentioned this in the past. That's what they do for every one of the war chiefs, the big war chiefs. Every time they show up, they have the choir, thumping their names, and also have that during the actual song that happens when you fight them. And yes, they have to stick with the names that they have, which is super hilarious if your opponent is called Douche.
Did you think killing my boys with our own Karagats would frighten me? I would let 1,000 Uruks die before I stop. You are
what a great leader you are.
If you forgot, the orcs use the term Shrek to indicate, to mention basically shit. It's the same thing that the 2099 characters in Marvel mentions, shock instead of shit.
I love how your mount's just laying down there.
Well, yeah, that's because some warships or captain can have the trait that this one just exhibited. This killer, as in they will immediately, without hesitation, also, murder your beast if you try to attack them with them.
Huh.
Let me take him, master. I'll make him squeal for mercy.
No, thank
Dude,
you.
your head's on fire.
That's the idea, Joe.
He's like Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, kinda. It's more of a deterrent. As you can see, it's more of a gigantic helmet that just happens to also be on fire. Well, you're about to see, essentially, again, you can technically win this kind of fight with perseverance, with persistence, but you will see just soon enough that there's a much easier way to take out the war chiefs, and I just made things more complicated for myself.
Don't tell me, snipe them.
That can happen. I forgot if it's immune to arrows or not.
Jesus, how many captains are there here?
Oh, again, Drobat. It gets better in the sequel, but you can get ambush on top of ambush on top of ambush.
Don't tell
If the game
me.
is particularly dickish, you're in for a bad time.
Don't tell me, can you actually get mobbed by a gang of captain tier enemies?
Okay, not here, and not necessarily for the sequel. It's a bit tough to explain, but some captains might have a trait where they are accompanied by a set of, orcs with the normal health, but they are in appearance and power the same as the captains in order to give a psychological effect of you seeing 4 different, orcs. Oh.
Jesus, they just keep coming.
And they don't stop coming. They
Don't stop coming. Better be ready to hit the ground running.
And again, I'm not exactly doing well health-wise. Like I said, if you're particularly lucky, you will be able to even avoid this, potential death screen. And remember, you technically cannot die, so it's not real consequence of losing progress. But it's more of a case of you don't want to make the orcs more powerful if you don't want that.
Huh. Yeah, that's right. You can potentially screw yourself over if you make your nemesis too strong.
Or you can even create one of your own by having, for example, that that crossbow guy potentially kill me. That will be promoted to an actual captain with a name and everything. So
again, the nemesis
no,
system.
The guy just recruited got killed.
Damn it! You will be missed.
Not really. I literally just encountered him here.
A moment in silence
Yeah.
to the
There we go.
seconds he had of presence.
Yeah, you will be remembered as fondly as the green biker dude.
What green biker? Oh, right! That green biker dude!
Yeah, just as much screen time.
Poor guy.
Now it's only the war chief and 1 captain remaining. Again, if you're going to, if you're actually, in a bit of a pinch, branding random urooks, on the battlefield might be an ideal strategy because you're turning the tide towards you and you're offering more targets for the enemy, and they can still damage them. So you're essentially, creating a bit of chaos for the sake of, but you still have to watch out for your health bar because replenishing your health is not really easy in this first game.
Wow. It looked like you did a shockwave branding there.
Yes, well, it doesn't actually count as branding, but like I said, it does offer the actual shockwave. Also, it's worth noting that thanks to rules, I got that second, that second possibility of a second chance, which means, again, you do not have those, on an infinite number. At some point, either 2 or 3, if you're still reducing that kind of state, the enemy will automatically kill you. So you have to actually still watch out potentially.
I love how the guy's self just started depleting like mad because of all the branded warriors you got ganging up on him.
That movement I just did is for something else, but you will see later in the part.
I was actually gonna wonder, can you drain health from enemies that you've branded?
Yes, actually, but it requires a long time. Being in the middle of combat is not recommended.
Ah, okay. Guess it would have been a little broken if you could just brand an enemy, then boop, use it as a healing charge in the middle of battle.
Okay, it does. That's how basically how the meta is rebalanced in the sequel. As in, you lose health relatively more easy, but at the same time you can replenish it just as easily.
Fair trade.
Again, it does contribute to the whole ballet dance that you perform during combat.
Wow, shoot, now this feels like this could have been the final boss, Jesus Christ.
Again, it does recreate a bit also some moments from the movies, like the battle at Amon Hen.
Shame we don't
I
have...
definitely tell the developers wanted to recreate something similar to that.
I really do feel like...
And that's the part where I die. Actually, no, I forgot. I still had 1. No, actually, but I fucked up, so...
You gotta be worth something to the Dark Lord.
Oh, so you're now taking a line from Arzak, like this is, sorry, from Sid. This is the place where I die. Goodbye, Arzak.
And yeah, because the warship survived, he also gets powered up. But again, don't worry, you will not see the entire thing again. As you can see, one thing that I did overlook a bit is that the warship can potentially still be stealth killed, and that includes also by Karagaps. So let's get the pounce on him, and there you go.
I am
That's your nose.
horn. Oh.
Okay, that was a bit more of an anticlimactic way, but victory
All right,
is
Choir.
yours.
Sorry, we
still.
gotta. All right, Choir. Sorry, we gotta stop. The Tomb Horn is dead,
Alas.
but the
Again,
filthy
he's
guy
bodyguarding.
escaped.
Well, yeah, he's not concerned for us.
I will say this: I do appreciate how smooth the transition from ghost form to regular form is.
Yeah, and also the movements of Talion or Celebrimbor in the case, also sheathing or unsheathing the swords. Okay, this one, if I recall correctly, requires for you to use the Graug.
Show him the safety he can expect with a wretched.
This is actually one of the more, bullshit kind of missions. Unfortunately, you will soon see why.
Thank you, Mr. Grog, for just showing up to let us ride your back.
Like I said, this game treats these kind of beasts kind of like your cars in a GTA game.
So, the equivalent of the super big Titans in Crash of the Titans.
That too, I guess. And hey, it also has the gross out humor from that game, so why not? Seriously, who in the right mind at Radical or Activision thought it was a great idea to call a level "Don't eat the yellow brick road"?
But sir, all our training's been is just punching things.
Yeah, I was about to say, has your training prepared you for a human who is able to control a wargog?
Nope.
Now look what's happening. We lost 2 men at once.
Again, getting to the warchief is actually fairly easy because again, the Graug can vomit projectile everywhere, and thanks to the grabbing move, you can also replenish your health very easily just by snacking up an orc or two. It's more when the warchief will show up that things will get a bit tense.
Now, let me guess. Because of his class, he can insta-kill the wargog.
That yes, but you will see soon enough, because remember, the trump card of having a Graug is that that move where he grabs an orc and eats them, insta-kill that bypasses any protection, like any captain or warship can be insta-kill by that. That is an immense resource. So you will see again when the warship just arrives. For the time being, I just need to, vomit shoot the archers. Although again, it's interesting, they call them archers, but they all use, crossbows in this game, and, or at worst, throwing spears. It's only Talion the one that uses, bow and arrow.
Are they going off of the logic that, hey, as long as you throw a projectile, that counts as you arching it, right?
I guess, because I have to remind you, in the movies, the orcs and goblins do use properly bows and arrows. If anything, it plays into the stereotype of they prefer quantity over quality because their aim is not optimal or they're not trained, efficiently with those weapons. So in here, replacing that with all of them crossbows, I don't mind the fact that there are crossbows in throwing spears, but putting actual bows and arrows would be fine.
Sir, I don't think our training prepared us for being killed by vomit. Ah!
Years later, the orcs would have to divulge information of why their ancestors left in the Forbidden Tomes. Watch out for the barf.
And though they shall call it the Nickelodeon-rama.
Yeah. I liked it.
Seriously, what is
The colour needs a bit of
obsession?
workshopping, though.
What is Nickelodeon's obsessions with slimy stuff? I will never know.
Well, slime just recently became part of their logo again, so...
Weird, but yeah, for some reason, kids really liked being slimed on.
Must be a Canadian thing.
Nickelodeon's American.
I thought we did start it as Canadian properly.
I thought
I
so.
thought it was in the US. Let me look it up.
Go ahead.
Because I remember, oh, there you go. Let me talk about this. again, Zugor, the beast butcher, as you can guess correctly, has a trait where he can easily kill our beast, you know, and also has a set of bodyguards on his own. And again, this is a set of bodyguards where you cannot lure out and kill them properly. These guys will show up only with him, so you have to deal with all of them at the same time. But again, they are not really too much of a problem. The problem is that Zugor decided to just stay put. Oh, look at this.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh my god, he camped you!
That's what he does. He literally just stands on top of a platform and shoot it from there, a platform that the ground cannot really reach. I tried it multiple times to see he could, you know, just jump over it, kind of like, you know, the other times when he does it. But no, he just stands there like the fucking camper that he is, and shoots his fire and sometimes explosive projectile. The idea is that I guess you're supposed to use the vomit against him, but it doesn't really do that much damage. So I do ponder how much the original sequence was supposed to run, you know, when it came to the developers, you know, mind to it. Especially because if you didn't read the reminder, this first game does not have a difficulty slide. It's just one fixed difficulty. So it's clearly a one-way the developers intended potentially for this kind of set piece to go through. Because it's pretty much clear to me that the way that I will eventually do, as he, you know, jump down and kill him on foot, probably was not the intended one.
Yeah, it started. Nickelodeon started in the United States in 1979.
Oh, weird. Where did I hear then that it's mostly, you know, attached to Canadian productions?
Quite a few of its shows did start from Canadian stuff, so that might have been where you got it.
It's also the fact that from what... There you go, I just killed the... Actually, no, he didn't rage at him. The things that I learned is that a lot of the Canadian productions were very cheap to make, you know, even before Nickelodeon, you know, showed up as a thing. Again, there's an entire story that involves Ralph Bakshi having to make a cheap production, then being called out in the United States to make a Spider-Man cartoon, trying to get his stuff, and apparently being labeled as a criminal by the Canadian government. A thing that he apparently got revoked only decades later, and like, what the fuck?
Ralph Bakshi worked on Spider-Man at some point.
Yes, the 60s cartoon specifically, the later seasons. Me and Pedro and Shiroi watched occasionally some episodes that were present on YouTube, and we were pondering one particular thing, the fact that Spider-Man villains rarely did show up in that series, and most of the time Spider-Man had to face a bunch of one-note people who were like, who the fuck is that guy? Apparently, those were actually editorial mandate that Ralph Bakshi and his team were actually forced to actually have, as in, you know, instead of actually facing people like the Green Goblin, you know, the Rhino, or the Octopus and stuff, Spidey will just have to fight a random, you know, guy of the week called Parafino, who will have to, you know, just, you know, cement people in paraffin apparently, which, again, that's just an example. Later on, in order to save even more budget, he will have to recycle entire plot lines and still images from another show that did work in Canada called Rocket Robin Hood. Fados covered a bunch of videos on the matter. You should probably watch those.
Wow. Just when I think I've heard the weirdest news behind the 60s Spider-Man show.
It's still... I actually watched a lot of episodes recently. It's actually a good time, and ironically enough, I came to the realization that it probably would be the characterization a proper adult Peter Parker would have.
Oh yeah, like 60s Spider-Man, absolutely.
It still has the humor, but it really feels like Peter is an actual adult instead of a teenager, you know, and more responsible with his head on his shoulders.
I will argue the 97-minute series did that as well.
Oh, this mission. Sorry, give me a second, Pedro. This mission sucks. You're on board of a cargo, and you're supposed to track down these particular couriers that are carrying, you know, Torvin's black powder. You're supposed to actually intercept them and kill them using the bow and arrow before they reach a checkpoint. And if you miss them, good chances are the entire mission is over. So you need to make every single shot count, but not waste too much time on it, because otherwise your focus bar will not work properly, you know, it will deplete too much, and you will not... Sorry, and you will not have enough time to to properly kill all of them. So as you can imagine, this took a couple of tries to get it right.
I think
Keep in mind, for these DLCs, the game counts already as if you have max stats to begin with.
I think I can... Oh, cool. Well, okay, I guess that's fair, but I think I can see where some of the difficulty might come from. The fact that the open world is so big that they could come from almost any direction, so if you don't know which way they're coming from, you might waste some time figuring out which is the more efficient pattern to take them out in.
Yeah, you have 10 people to take out, in 3 waves,
Blasting powder could even make short work of the walls of Minas Ithil.
Don't worry, Talion. I'm sure Minas Ithil is gonna be fine.
I got that
Yeah,
reference.
Minas Tirith, on the other hand.
Well, again, Greaves, this is set 60 years before that, so Denethor is still young at this point, and his father is the one ruling. The superintendents, sure, were not on par with the proper King of Gondor, as in the last surviving Númenóreans, but they were still properly doing their job for the most part. It was Denethor was a fuck-up, and even then, like I said in our commentary, it was the movie that decided for some reason to make him more of a jerk and a wimp, because in the book he actually legitimately has the moment of kicking ass.
You know, given how similar he looks to him, how interesting would it have been if Talion turned out to be Aragorn's ancestor or something?
It's funny because Talion is no Númenórean. He himself mentions it occasionally. That's also one of the reasons why he was on the Black Gate to begin with. Unfortunately, Gondor still has that some of those stupid, borderline racist rules that if you're not
on
really
fire!
pure Númenóreans, the chances are you might be actually exiled because, or if you committed any minor crime. There you go, that's the smuggler that we need to kill.
So what's his special gimmick as a warlord?
He rides a Karagor and has a bunch of bodyguards also riding on Karagors, so thankfully he doesn't use anything tied to the black powder, but we still need to kill him. But continue, Pedro, in the meantime.
Oh, Analog in the 90s animated series also did that. But especially by the later seasons, he's flat out
Married?
not living yet, but
In a better situation with Mary Jane.
Jane and everything.
About that, Jim.
They even get married at one point, although there's something that happens later after that.
I swear.
I distinctly remember seeing the entire series finale as in the adaptation of Secret Wars, and then their equivalent of Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, and then it ends with a cliffhanger for season 5 that we never got because Fox fucked us over.
Well, apparently, actually, the creator came out and said, no, that was it. Yeah, apparently.
What?
And why ended still on a cliffhanger?
Just in case.
Wait.
I mean,
After all, pretty much the word that... Oh god, what's his name? The producer obsessed with Venom, Avi Arad. Yeah, so you're telling me that actually, despite all word suggesting that Avi Arad was the one messing stuff up, it was actually just their choice to end the show there, even though they...
There's something that I learned over time, Jova, is that Avi Arad is literally all over the place. He will
yeah, I've looked it up. Yeah, I've looked it up. There was a few things. The folks felt that they were just done at that point. The show had run its full course. And apparently, the cancellation wasn't ultimately down to Avi Arad or the head of Fox Kids, Margaret Lesh. It was funding issues.
Okay, that makes more sense, but because remember, they actually did have good portions of Season 5 all planned out and everything, so I would find it weird that it was strictly them thinking, oh, we're done here, but if funding issues were that... Although, again...
Oh god, I can imagine now Avi Arad somewhere saying now, aha, see, this time it wasn't my fault. You fuckers keep blaming me for everything.
I was about to mention, apparently I found out recently that the villain, and yes, I mean like the spot of Across the Spider-Verse, apparently that was his idea to rebrand him as a eldritch abomination.
That was Avi Arad's idea, look.
Yeah, apparently. Like I said, it's weird because, he has a lot of bizarre creative decision, executive meddling that can fuck things over. But just at the same time, he might still have legitimately good ideas.
So would that make him like the Gilgamesh of Spider-Man? He's always popping up in these stories, old or new.
Well, I guess. But again, if anything, it's a testament of the fact that at the core, all the people who are working, a lot of, if not all of them, the people working, are still people who read the comics and are legitimately fans. So sure, they still can fuck up, or maybe they have weird ideas of their own, but they're still, fans of the media in some kind of fashion.
Oh yeah, like, no. I may have faults with Aviarod, but I will give him this. I never would have really doubted that he is a fan. Like, I can believe he wants to try and do the best thing. Granted, I still hold that there are a lot of times where he has done absolutely terrible bouts in the execution.
Sam Raimi, you should put Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Sam Raimi, you should force in all these story plots here. Like,
Okay. It's like I said before, the whole Uncle Ben's killer thing, that was Raimi's idea from the start. So.
No. That's not what I'm taking issue with. And in fact, again, while I did turn my nose up with it, I do feel like that one was better executed, probably because that was actually one of the ideas from the get-go. But Aviarod is largely responsible for why Spider-Man 3 ended up getting needlessly bloated.
Alright, to contrast the previous mission, which was a lot of tedious, I generally like this one. What you're supposed to do for the time being is to attract goose by, popping up the nest with the technique that we showcased before, as in, firing an arrow towards the bomb hill that looks like, an anthill, and it will attract that immediately. And, they will start then killing Uruks immediately. And you need to let them, cause a bit of mischief and chaos on that. And you will see when the warchief arrives, he will arrive riding a Graug of his own, which is kind of a bit of an unusual sight. But you can use the goose to take out the Graug and then kill the warchief on your own. Again, you will see in execution for it. And again, it's one of the more relaxing also ones because you're not refrained into having to do everything stealth-wise. But as you can see, I'm still managing properly on my own. Also, I'm curious on another thing since I don't really possess that, but considering our circumstances, I suppose now, are all of the Spider-Man animated series from the different decades on Disney Plus now?
Okay.
I don't think the 60s show is.
I think the 60s show still has some kind of copyright reasons.
TOS from the recent decade, though.
No, all of them in general,
all of them.
Because I know Philos did mention in his reviews that at least some of them should be present on Disney Plus, and I thought maybe it's an American thing, as in copyright.
Let me check.
By Disney definitely are there. Like the 90s animated series, I think is there, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely there.
Yeah, because that was a Fox show, and then that.
Okay. Hold on. I've got Disney Plus up here. The 80s show is there. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends is there. The 70s Spider-Woman show is there. The 2017 show is there. God help me, Unlimited is there, so kudos.
Is there?
Spectacular Spider-Man is there. The 2000...
Wait. Spectacular is on Disney Plus?
Yep, it's on Disney Plus.
I thought there was an issue there because it's a Sony show.
I think...
must have worked something out, I guess.
Done into an agreement similar to what they did with the MCU movies.
I guess.
That, or I wonder if the license on the TV show stuff...
Oh, there you go, Jova. That move that I just did steals Elf from even a person that you follow. So,
oh, nice. I wonder if... Oh, snap, this one's actually riding a Graug.
A Graug, yes. Like I said, the strategy now is to actually direct the goose, have the goose being directed towards the Graug, so there you go. And by shooting him in the head, the Graug will actually be incapacitated, which means the ghoul will immediately be attracted, and as such, having an easier time killing him.
Anyway,
Sony doesn't have a streaming service, so I guess it makes sense to make a deal with Disney, I guess.
Yeah, keep in mind, Sony apparently have allowed Spider-Man Homecoming to come to Disney Plus as of now, and also Incredible Hulk is finally on there.
Well, that's the thing. Like, apparently, Universal's rights to the Hulk are about to expire.
Namor. Yeah.
Okay, Far From Home and No Way Home don't appear to be on Disney Plus yet. My guess is, I wonder if Sony still have that deal going with, God, the name of, I think it's called Stars with a Z, that had like No Way Home. Because, you know, of course, No Way Home was a big deal, but Sony at the time didn't have their own streaming service to
And
really
there we
broadcast
go.
it. Ha! He literally pops out of existence.
Oh, but it gets better. Let's get to the warchief and start killing him.
Oh, right. We
don't
could
think-
probably set the ghouls on him,
And
can't
of course
we?
he hates ghouls. Well, that's the thing, we don't really direct the ghouls, they're more like attracted to the target on their own.
That works.
But again, just in a second we will get a mission where Talion will start making pondering.
Interesting. Anyway, back
So
to...
is the Ultimate cartoon in there?
Yes! Ultimate is on there.
Uh,
As is Spider-Man and his Amazing
I heard
Friends, the
things,
2021 show.
Teo, it's literally Annoying Self-Awareness, the TV show. That's
Okay,
literally what it is.
let me put it like this. They essentially try to make Spider-Man Deadpool in a show that has Deadpool in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe it or not,
uh,
Spider-Man and Deadpool literally have a fourth wall breaking battle.
Spider-Man is literally written like he's Deadpool, and it's just like, why don't you just make a Deadpool cartoon then?
And like the thing about, oh right, and yes, of course, the
Here we go,
90s show
Lon.
is also on Disney Plus.
Oh no! Even the music!
Jesus, we
This
really
is like,
broke this guy's
this is like the
heart.
person. This is like the person that worked for Jabba the Hutt that had to find the Rancor being killed, and you genuinely feel sad for the guy.
What was known of his story? His tears.
It was just, you know, it was just an Uruk and his pet, you know, doing a mention. But continue.
Yes, the 90s Spider-Man show is of course on there. So yeah, it seems like the only major one
60s
missing is the
that's
60s
missing,
show. Yeah, I always wondered what's up with that exactly. Is there?
Well,
The
again-
60s one, if I remember correctly, was made by a different company than Fox.
Like I
or...
said, it did started as a Canadian production, but then had to be shifted into the US. I don't know who owns the right ultimately on that yet, but
You miscalculated your
Oh.
odds, my dude. We took down a flipping
oh,
grog.
do they? Let me see.
These orcs think they're
And he
so.
retreats immediately. Like I said, that's part of the beauty of the RNG, because shit like this can happen.
But no, basically... No, definitely. The 60s cartoon is basically perfectly captures the experience of the original 1960s comics by Stan Lee. Like, that, it has that good old-fashioned 60s Marvel silliness to it.
Can I just say that there's some cruel irony that most Spider-Man shows are kind of doomed to, you know, get non-conclusive endings? God, especially the 2003 show, which ends technically with Peter quitting being Spider-Man. Yet, what might possibly the only one to have a conclusive ending is Ultimate Spider-Man. God damn.
Alright, we only have one warchief remaining, and the mission...
Uruk managed to tame a grog.
Unlocking the missions in order to that actually has to kill him require for you to kill all the other warchiefs beforehand.
Oh, so this guy must be the
This one is a bit
strongest.
special. It's not like a important character or anything, but his mission is a bit different. But first we need to have Torvin tell us what we can do about it.
Yeah, again, like I said, one missed opportunity is not having the companions join you for more of the journey and during the gameplay.
The sequel tries to, play a bit more with that by having you a set of missions that you do along with some NPCs, and one particularly sticks to you until the end, technically. But, again, you'll be able to see in the time. Torvin has something bizarre to ask us.
Oh, it's just the worst. That's the worst. Unnatural. Filthy. Disgusting.
Slow down, dwarf. What are you ranting about this time?
The last of these new warchiefs. He's a ghoul keeper. Now, somehow he's controlling the little bastards. Worse, actually, I think he's friends with them.
Controlling them? An Uruk commanding a ghoul army?
Aye, it's
But yeah, apparently this particular warchief manages to control a bunch of, ghouls, which is very bad news because ghouls are, virtually infinite.
Oh boy.
Shudder to see it.
So how do we work around that?
Maybe.
We don't. Game over.
Come on, out with it.
No, that's the neat part. You don't.
You seem to be able to control everything. Uruk,
That sounds like the
Just
ending
sound
of a
as
TV episode.
could you control
oh,
one
no,
of the
no.
scouts?
Yes, Torvin just asked us to control, dominate ghouls, which I guess on paper it would work because, it's still Celebrimbor's power, working on literally every potential creature that you want. But it just feels odd, and guess what? This is one of those things that really do not come back in the sequel because
Oh, I know this. Oh, I know how this works. Quick, draw the puppet string rune.
It takes a bit too long. What we need to do instead is to build up our combo and then do the Brave Burn, the moves that I showcased a bit before. Square plus triangle. There you go. That apparently instantly dominates ghouls.
Huh.
Okay.
Surprisingly easier than I thought it would
Including
be.
matrons too.
Wow.
But no,
Go.
Jova's comment just now actually reminded me more of one of my favorite lines from Dark Closure, one's review of the Game Boy Titus Superman game. You might be wondering how do you use Superman's other powers like heat breath or like freeze breath or heat vision. It's quite simple. You don't. And that's it.
It's funny because I was quoting Invincible, which literally is J.K. Simmons voicing the Superman XP.
But yeah, no, that's the thing. The thing about the '60s Marvel cartoons is that they literally look like I talked about it. It's literally the comics, but they literally take art book from the comics and animate them. Like the Hulk show in particular did
Or
that.
Captain America. Again, there's this always beautiful example that someone did put a compilation a long time ago.
Yeah.
That has this comic where Steve Rogers is in the present, which back then were like the 60s, So it was instead of being frozen in ice, it was more of a case that he survived the war and continued living. Where he's riding a car, but he's basically under mind control, and Bucky is like, Cap, what's wrong? And when we cut to this very uncomfortable close-up of Cap's face, and he's like, I'm in an impossible fantasy world right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, now that you need to dominate a bunch of 45 ghouls at the same time. This is more of a case also of them flexing a bit and saying, look how many models we can have at the same time on stream. And in case you're wondering, no, I don't know if this DLC was also available for the PS3 and 360 versions of the game, but something tells me probably not because it might have been too taxing. So yeah, and now you need to properly now direct the ghouls towards inside this account. Look at that, already with this the frame rate chucks quite a bit. Like I'm pretty confident that the PC versions of both this and Shadow War could run technically fine. But again, Warner Bros. Has a history of bad PC ports to begin with, so if I recall correctly, the PC ports of Shadow War was not really that optimal at launch. But I'm pretty confident it has been fixed either through official patch or community ones. And there you go. Again, if you played a game like Overlord or Pikmin, you know exactly this kind of controls that you perform with the ghouls.
Man, Pikmin Lord of the Rings. There's an image.
Again, Overlord. That's what you need to play. You basically play as Manor Game described as Kmart Sauron, commanding a bunch of goblins.
Impressive. I think we're ready to end this hunt. The Ghoul Keeper hides in an infested cave. Stalk in.
So, again, given where this takes place story-wise, I like how this implies that Talion is like, no, Torvin, don't join me in my quest. Actually, never mind. You can join for this last leg here before I get my final revenge.
Well, keep in mind, it's Torvin who asked the help of Talion to begin with for this one.
Our companion's voice, he reminds me, for some reason he reminds me of Craig Ferguson, where there is a bit of American in his Scottish accent.
Like you said, Wibbs, that's Adam Crossdale, Ignis, and as you have noticed, he is a South African born.
Come!
Well, he did attend, you mentioned that he did attend that British Academy that closed out relatively recently. So anyway, Torvin will just stay out of the cave and bring moral support. I don't want to know what you do with these ghouls. Well, we need to reach the war chief and try to kill him. Like I said, this is relatively unconventional because it tries to be more of a set piece rather than your the average stock, the war chief mission that you have been doing up until this point.
Oh boy.
Sure, fuck.
Shagflak.
Sounds like they say, sure, fuck, sure,
So
fuck.
you got something on your nose.
Where is your nose?
Freddy Krueger got it.
How nice of you.
This particular warship is a bit of a bastard because, like I said, all the other warships in this particular chapter have their stat and resistances and weaknesses already planned in a particular way. But this one is almost immune to everything and has a shitload of health. So the game is, this is definitely a case where the game is expecting you to take him out in a specific way. For the time being, you just need to pile on him, along with the ghouls that you can actually tame. You also notice that the reason why the meter is of your combo gives a bit of a full potency to the square plus X move is also the sound effect. It produces a bigger boom sound effect. I can do this all day.
I do like how also you can upgrade it to the point where you kind of get sort of a mass hypnosis wave, it looks like.
Well, that works mostly on ghouls.
Okay.
On a normal target, you still have to properly, make them talk to the hand.
Which actually
Alright,
makes you...
at the halfway point, Shagflak will do this and literally escape the cave. Some orcs can actually do this to you if they have the trait of mockery, as in, when you are in an agonizing state, they will deliberately refuse to kill you and just taunt you and exit stage right, literally. Again, that's what Angry Jern learned the hard way. He found an orc that was almost immune to anything, and every time he got, almost killed by him, this orc in particular exhibited this trait, so that meant that he would need to stalk him again, but every time will become more and more powerful. But thanks to perseverance, he ultimately managed to kill him. Like I said, that's one of the beauty things about the Nemesis system. You literally can create your own personal story arcs whether it being a dream or a nightmare. But yeah, that's also our final rush. You're supposed to now intercept him there, then bait, use that ground bait to actually, while in the meantime possessing the ghouls so you can attack him. This will in turn let a Graug arrive, and like we said, a bite from a Graug, the bite from a Graug from his grab attack counts as an insta-kill to everything. So it's just a matter of time of reaching the warships, grab him up and snack him down, which unfortunately, with the huge mass of ghouls, it's not as easy. Especially because this battle takes place during the night, so as you can see, it's a bit hard to pinpoint the grabbing maneuver. But hey, like he said, I can do this all day.
Making for a good move.
Yeah, this Graug has a, insatiable appetite.
So bottoms up.
And again, Torvin told us that the reason they're poison is because they feed most exclusively on ghouls. Ow. Don't worry, it's just as easy to get back. Alright, let's try this again. Nope. Again, if the ghouls attack with a spitting attack at the same time, it might be a case that you get, forcefully ejected from your mount. But again, it's nothing too much of a problem, and like, as you can see, you know, the Graug do not lose that much health, and you can recover it with the bite anyway. So, if you're lucky enough, mind you, you can also still, you know, kill the warchief via the poison alone. It just takes a bit more time, but again, it's one of those things where, you know, it doesn't really have an immunity for them to be against. So. Nope. There we go.
That goal sounded a little human, honestly.
There we go.
Down you go.
And as soon as you kill him, you know, kill his warchief, you get immediately the final cutscene.
This threat is over, Torvin. All these foul Beastmaster warchiefs have met their end.
We accomplished great
All
things
by the
together,
same way.
We certainly have our moments, dwarf. You even managed to do all
They
right
lost
on
their
those
heads.
ghouls.
You know, Captain, I think I may have been too harsh on the little fiends. Those scampering monsters
Oh,
might not be
around
so terrible
on the
after
boozer.
all.
How cute.
Can have their uses, at least.
Will you look at that? You can grow a little. Even if it's
Ha,
only emotion.
Oh!
Not your best, Talion.
Lol.
I love how even he has to admit that was a low
Be on
blow.
my way.
Literally.
Blue Mountains are waiting.
Safe journeys, my friend.
And yeah, now in this case, Torvin has to return to the Blue Mountains. Like he said,
I
we
have
will
to
see
go now. I will need to be.
we will see him in the sequel, but like I said, don't have your expectations set too high.
Here's
And
hoping
again,
he doesn't die unceremoniously
the
there.
DLC just no, but you see, the DLC just ends, no real credits. So instead, join us instead next time where we start the first half of the other DLC story that was released, the Bright Lord, which showcases what happened when Celebrimbor stole the ring and tried to stage his rebellion against Sauron. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.